Hi, I'm Zendor, and yes, you have been expecting me. I'll be your guide, playing the devil's advocate as we peer into the depths of what keeps us afraid, angry, ignorant, and immobile. Dreams mold future realities, and our dream for Who is to inspire our viewers to become actively involved in the critical issues that affect all of us.
Some people would
How could I? I'm Floyd Red Crow Westerman. When our rivers and forests were pure and unthreatened, my people regarded all life as sacred. If we lived by these values today, we'll have a future for our children.
How about Alex Coord? And you may have recognized him from the TV series Airwolf, which was one of my favorites. And we're going to ask him some questions about his involvement here with the event. Alex, how did you first get involved? I mean, you've been an avid horseman for a while, and it seems like it would probably be something that would be right up your alley, but what prompted you to really get behind it?
Well, as you said, I've been a serious horseman most of my life. I've participated in every equestrian competitive sport there is. I was a professional polo player for about 20 years. And about 8 or 9 years ago, I got involved with Ben Johnson. He and I did a film together. And he puts on these pro celebrity rodeos for charities all over the country. And we do 6, 7, or 8 of them a year to benefit different organizations, children's hospitals in Oklahoma, cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy. We've raised a lot of money. A lot of good cowboys, world champions participate with celebrities who can ride.
Now you've got a particular skew that not too many people probably know about that maybe gives you a little more impetus in getting involved with something like this.
Yeah, well, for me, you know, people often wonder, you know, where does the money go when you're raising money for a charity, and does it do any good and so forth. When I was a kid, I had polio, and that was at a time long before Jonas Salk. There was no cure, and just through the grace of God, I wasn't as severely afflicted as a lot of people were. I came away with some permanent lung damage and one leg a little shorter than the other, but I watched kids die around me, you know, 3- and 4-year-old kids, 15-year-old kids spend their lives in wheelchairs and braces and stuff. And I remember that the March of Dimes at that time was very instrumental in helping my parents, who were not wealthy people, with the hospital bills and stuff. And after I got out of the hospital, my father went around for years with a cup collecting dimes for the March of Dimes. And he would do it every year, and that was his thing. In the dead of winter, he'd come home from work, bundle up in his overcoat, and go out and knock on the neighbors' doors and fill this container with dimes. So when I saw the cure of polio through the efforts of the March of Dimes and the funds that were raised and through the generosity of people who contributed, it drove home very solidly how important this kind of charity work is. And since I was blessed enough to come away relatively unscathed, it's natural, I think, to feel a kind of karmic debt. So for me, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to go out and do this kind of work for charities. When I say I played polo for 20 years, most of that time we had a team of celebrities that included William Devane, Doug Sheehan, Pamela Sue Martin. And in 3.5 years, we raised $2.5 million for various charities playing polo.
Do you see that kind of example in a wide variety of society now, or do you see it more as an apathetic viewpoint? Do you see a lot more people beginning to get involved?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no question about that. But it also, if you persist, can be very rewarding. I mean, I remember winning a polo game on Long Island for which we raised in one day $80,000 for the March of Dimes. And having been a victim of polio on this particular day, my team won. I was voted most valuable player, and they have a photograph of me holding the then, this was 3-4 years ago, current March of Dimes poster child. And there are tears running down my face. I mean, it was like you couldn't write this story. Here it was, you know, some 30 years later, here I am playing for the March of Dimes and winning this money for them, and with this child in my arms, and I had a towel around my neck. I was all sweaty. It was right after the game, and somebody told her to kiss me on the cheek for a photograph, and she kissed me, and I was wet, and I had a towel around my neck, and she took the towel and dried my cheek, and somebody took that picture, and it was in every magazine, Town and Country, People magazine had a photograph, just a great photograph. And when I look at that thing, somebody says to me, "What's that photograph about?" I said, "It's an actual photograph of the happiest day of my life." And I can barely say it now without getting choked up. Yeah. An amazing experience, you know. So it can be incredibly rewarding. You know, we go to these children's hospitals in Oklahoma, for instance, and they bring all the kids out on this patio, and we spend time with them. Permanent, what do you call them, terminal cancer kids, you know. I mean, the most heart-rending things you've ever seen in your life. And we tend to forget about that, you know, as we go through our lives.
For someone that's having difficulty getting the drive to get out and do that sees the need but yet doesn't really know how to connect with it or is afraid of getting involved, what do they got to work through in order to go do it?
You know what I do? I mean, I don't know how this would work for anybody else, but we all take so much for granted, you know, and when you get out of bed in the morning and both feet hit the floor and one foot goes in front of the other and takes you to the bathroom and you don't fall on your face, you are one lucky son of a bitch. And that's what we have to remember, is because there are people that have to haul themselves into a wheelchair and somebody has to set them up in it, and then they got to blow on a tube to make that wheelchair go forward. How dare we, who have 2 arms and 2 legs and a reasonably sound mind, ever complain about anything?
Exactly. Alex, I thank you for your time. Get involved, because who does it affect? All of us.
If they did this to your home, you'd stop them, wouldn't you?